How do you close more of your sales and increase the average order value of your customers that are coming in? You sell solutions, all right? I'm gonna teach you this sales framework that I've stolen from Alex Hormozi. It's called a diagnostic sales framework, right? Essentially, when you're selling, right, you want to sell solutions, not services or products, all right? Think about it this way, okay? If let's say someone comes into your clinic, what do they actually want? They don't really want Botox, they don't really want fillers, they want to look a certain way, they want to look pretty. Why do they want to look pretty? Because they might be losing a bit on the confidence side, they want to feel confident again, they want to look prettier again, alright? So you have to understand the psychology behind why your consumers are buying. Okay, now let me just kind of walk you through the whole diagnostic sale process that can really extrapolate what the customer actually wants and how you can tie the price to the solution. Okay, now the first step, let's say someone comes into your clinic, you have a questionnaire. What is a questionnaire? Now obviously you know what a questionnaire is, but the whole point of the questionnaire is basically you want to aggravate their pain. You want them to be aware of the problem. You become aware of what they're facing, what they're going through. Okay, maybe for example in the aesthetic industry, right? You can ask, how long has this been going on for? What measures have you kind of took to resolve this? You know, what else? Maybe if this goes on for the next 5 years, what will happen? Now obviously this whole questionnaire, the whole purpose of this questionnaire is to make them become aware of the problem that they're having, right? But there's a few steps later on which will be even more powerful of a tool to help them realize their pain, alright? But in terms of the sales framework, that's the first thing. When they come in, give them a questionnaire that they have to answer. Babes, it would be better if they are physically writing it down as well, compared to you just talking to them, because then when they're writing it down, they actually think about it, they understand, okay, this is the things that it's going through, I have to kind of resolve it. Okay, second thing, customer profile. You have to take their credit card details as well. Okay, and let's say if they are kind of giving you the objection that, hey, I don't want to give you my credit card details, like why do you have to take my credit card details when I haven't even buy anything? Just tell them it's standard procedure, right? Just tell them, oh, that's just how the company works, right? You want me to continue? Great, grab their card details and then move on. Okay, now the third one, alright, current state. See, this is where it gets really interesting, because you're kind of poking on the bear. Alright, you're trying to understand what is their current state, what is your current situation that is hindering you from getting to where you're trying to be. Okay, now this current state is basically the more powerful tool of helping them understand like where they are. Okay, for example, I thought about it from like a aesthetic industry perspective. Okay, you want to have a chart. In this chart, you're gonna have a list of concerns. Actually, not a list of concerns, sorry, like a specific concern, and you want to show it from like ugly to prettiest. Alright, for example, maybe in the gym industry, you use the scale as a way to show them their current state, because you can't tell your customers, hey, you're fat, or hey, you're ugly, alright? Because then pretty obvious, like you just don't tell people that, right? You can't tell people that, hey, you're ugly, but you can say the scale called you fat, alright, not me. So when you have this chart, right, you can tell them, hey, the chart said that you're ugly, not me. Okay, now once they identify how ugly or fat they are, you go to the next one. What is their desired state? Alright, so for example, maybe in the gym, okay, so currently you are 300 kilograms. Okay, what is your desired state? How skinny do you want to be? Maybe they want to go towards like 200 kilograms. Okay, or for example, in the aesthetic industry, they have the chart, right? You can choose, okay, let's say you're this ugly, how pretty do you want to be, right? Obviously now you have to set, like you have to manage their expectations properly. You can't just tell them, hey, you want to go from 300 kilograms to freaking 100 kilograms in 2 weeks. That makes sense, right? Okay, So you understand where the desired state is. And where this gets really interesting is because when they're picking out the desired state, they are essentially framing themselves up for the price that they have to pay. Right? Now if you've ever been to like yogurt stores, right, think about it, there's two types of yogurt stores. Maybe you can go to Yao Yao or Yochi, right? Now if you go to a yogurt store that they are picking out the ingredients for you, and the price comes out, you're gonna be like, why is this place so expensive? It's scamming me, right? But if you're the one that is picking out the own ingredients yourself, you're the one that is filling up your cup, you're gonna pay an expensive price and think like, hey shit, I'm the fattest because I made the decision, right? So this whole desired state is essentially you want to help them make the decision. So if they pick that they want to become prettier, they have to be willing to sacrifice something and they have to be willing to pay. Okay, so you understand their desired state and you prime them up for the price that they're willing to pay. So this current state is basically building awareness, right? Helping them become aware of the problem that they have, and then this desired state is basically helping them make the decision, helping them make their own decision. Because you don't want to be a salesperson, you want to become like a doctor, okay? You want them to basically self-identify and then self-make the decisions themselves, okay? Now the fifth one is basically obstacles. What is it gonna take for you to come from here to here, okay? So maybe for example, if you're selling aesthetic services, you're gonna tell them, hey, we're gonna have to have like freaking 10 Botox treatments, 10 filler treatments. Obviously you have to space it out because like with aesthetic treatments and everything, but like basically we're gonna have to hit you with a pretty shower, you know, you're gonna like revive your whole face entirely, you know, and this is what the obstacles that it's gonna take. You know, you're gonna have to buy into treatments, you're gonna have to eat cleaner a bit, you know, you have to basically apply like sunscreen and everything, you know, skincare products, alright? But this is what it's gonna take from you to go from current to desired. Okay, that's how you tell them. Now the next step is basically you drop the price. So when you drop the price, right, you want to tie the price to the solution. Okay, sorry, I missed a step. Basically when you're telling them the obstacles, right, you want to tell them, hey, for you in the gym world, for you to go from 300 kg to 100 kg is gonna take a very long time, and you're gonna have to be committed, and basically, for example, maybe it's gonna take you, I don't know, a full year. Okay, so you have to work out consistently for the entire year. Alright, now then you drop the price. Okay, not only am I gonna provide you with the gym equipment, I'm gonna provide you with accountability. I'm gonna give you a treatment, like I'm gonna give you a meal plan. I'm gonna tell you what exercises to do, what supplements you should take to properly lose weight, and it's gonna take a full year. Okay, and then you drop the price. You drop the price. Okay, so it's gonna be, say, I don't know, $10,000 for an entire year's worth of basically like meal plans, consulting you in terms of like helping you actually regulate your health and stuff, your gym membership, all these. Okay, now 10,000 is a bit exaggerated, but anyways, so you drop the price. You want to drop the price in relation to the desired outcome that they're trying to get towards. Okay, so if you can drop the price in relation to this, it's gonna take you $10,000, but once you pay this amount, you can consider the problem done, resolved. Alright? So that's the whole process of the diagnostic sales process. Because a lot of people, when let's say they come in, they might just sell them like general gym memberships, or like they sell them basic supplements and stuff. They don't actually have a plan to get them to prepay, get them to buy more. Right? This whole diagnostic sales process basically helps them understand their problem, and it helps them understand where they want to achieve, what they want to achieve, and the price that they're willing to pay is basically what they're gonna get in return. So you want to tie the price in relation to the desired state. You can tell them, hey, you know, when you pay this price, you can consider this weight loss. All right, you want to lose, let's say, 200 kg. All right. If you pay $10,000, you can consider this 200 kg lost. Okay, now obviously, like with such a high price point, there's going to be a lot of objections, right? So that's where you kind of have prepayments. All right, if you've done everything up to here, you know, prospects should be generally more interested in what you're trying to sell, because like you're selling a solution, right? You're selling a solution. You're not selling gym memberships or like treatment plans. You want to sell solutions. When you offer a prepayment, okay, this is how you structure your prepayments. First, you tell them, hey, if you prepay, you're gonna get a 10% discount off. So for example, $10,000, you only pay $9,000 upfront, and you can use the entire year. We're gonna basically ensure that you actually lose this weight. If not, we provide you with a guarantee. Alright, now prepayment, okay? If they can't afford to pay such a high $9,000 upfront, you tell them you can do a half payment. But half payment, you only get 5% off. So for example, they still have to pay 9.5k, but if they do a half payment, they can pay you essentially 4.75 right now. Is that correct? Yeah, should be correct. So like, you do half payments, so at least you're still getting a whole chunk of money in, right? If they're not interested in half payments, because it might be a bit too expensive, then you ask them, okay, scale of 1 to 10. How interested are you? So you kind of just get a gauge on how interested they are in actually resolving their problem, okay? That way you can kind of know how to go about with the sale. Because if they're saying, oh, I'm sort of iffy about this, I'm on a 4 on a scale, maybe you can tell them, okay, aggregate the pain a bit, okay? So it sounds to me like you don't actually want to lose that much weight, or maybe you're not as committed because you have other commitments. Fine, okay? Then you downsell them. You sell them on a cheaper package, all right? But if they say, oh yeah, it's a 10, I really want to go about this, but I just can't afford it right now, fine. You do 3 payments, you split it to 3 payments. And if it's still too expensive, you can do monthly payments, alright? Just split it to monthly, but at this point, they're not getting any discount at all already. Monthly payments. And if they still can't afford it, then you just generally have to downsell them to the point where they actually buy something. Because the mantra that you should have as a business owner is that everyone that comes in has to buy something, okay? So that's generally the whole the sales framework of like the diagnostic, right? Is essentially you don't want to be a salesperson, you don't want to sell them something, you don't want to sell them generic processes, or you don't want to sell them generic things that everyone else is buying. You want to sell a solution catered to them specifically. That's where the personalized part comes in, right? So questionnaire, understanding their problems, all right? This is very important because like you have to understand your prospect, right? You build out a customer profile, you get their credit card details. Now, the reason why you get their credit card details is because when they actually agree with the price, they might get a bit like doubts going on in your mind. So like you just ask them, hey, you want to use the credit card on file? Good, process the payment straight away. So you don't want to leave anything up to chance, right? Because let's say someone agrees to the price and then they go to the toilet and then they're thinking about it, like, okay, maybe not, $10,000 is so much amount of money, right? They might back out immediately. So the moment you drop the price and they agree to it, you're gonna have to use the credit card details that you have on file. So that's why you get their credit card details, okay? The current state, understanding again, like not only understanding but helping them build awareness, right? You have to help them become aware of the problem, okay? Next, the desired state, what they're trying to achieve, because everyone might have a different goal, right? Some people might not want to lose that much weight, they just want to become a bit more healthier, you know? So you have to sell your packages in accordance to their desired state, because not everyone wants the same thing, okay? Desired state, okay, and then generate the obstacles that you have to kind of overcome in order to get to the desired state, okay? You have to very clearly identify to them, okay, these are the problems that you're going to be facing and this is how I'm going to help you, okay? So obstacles, okay, the better you can label obstacles and the better you can label their problems, the more they're going to trust you, because then they're going to feel like this person actually understands my problem, this person actually understands what I'm going through. Okay, now the second way, price. All right, the moment you drop the price, right, their guard is gonna be up, because then at that point you're already the salesman. Okay, so that's why like you really have to nail down this tree. If you can nail down this, help them understand that they've actually self-identified, they've identified the problem that they're trying to fix, where they want to head towards, and what obstacles they have to go through. The price generally becomes relatively easy to sell. Okay, so this whole model also helps you sell more, gets more patients into the door, as well as helping you increase the average order value of every customer that comes in, because cash flow is king in a business. It's the bloodline of the business, right? So the more you can get people to buy more, continuously buying more, and basically getting everyone to buy something, you're gonna be successful as a business owner. But yeah, that's just the general whole process framework. Now I just want to clarify this again, okay? Alex Hormozi came out with this, not me. I think it's just such a powerful framework for me to use and to help my patients and everyone that requires this get more sales. But yeah, that's just the whole framework, so hope this helps.